Have you ever locked eyes with someone and felt an indescribable spark, an unshakable connection that seemed to transcend time and space, as if your souls were not meeting for the first time, but reuniting after lifetimes apart? Could this bond be more than mere coincidence? Could it be part of God's eternal plan for you? In a world filled with fleeting moments and shallow interactions, there are rare, profound connections that stand out. They're the ones that touch your spirit, stir something deep within, and make you wonder, why does this feel so familiar? What if these moments aren't random, but sacred? A whisper from the divine, reminding you that some relationships are predestined, written into the fabric of your journey long before you were born. The Bible tells us, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." These words hold a truth so powerful, it can reshape how you view every relationship in your life. Imagine, every soul you meet, every bond you form, is a thread in God's masterful tapestry, woven with precision to guide you toward your highest calling. These aren't just chance encounters. They're sacred assignments, divine appointments, meant to awaken something extraordinary within you. And you may already know this. You felt it, haven't you? In that moment when someone entered your life, it felt as though they'd always been there. In the way their presence seemed to speak directly to your spirit, answering questions you hadn't yet dared to ask. Not everyone is called to recognize these divine connections. Many walk through life distracted, unable to see the profound mysteries unfolding right in front of them. But you are different. You are here for a reason. What if this moment, right now, is not a coincidence, but a calling, a sign that you are among God's chosen ones, selected to uncover truths hidden in plain sight, truths that could transform your life forever? If your heart is stirring at these words, if you've ever felt the undeniable pull of a connection that defied logic, I invite you to pause and reflect. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might inspire someone else to recognize their divine path. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video. It's a simple gesture, but it helps spread this message to others who, like you, are searching for deeper meaning. Stay with me, because the answers you've been seeking might be closer than you think. What comes next will unravel truths you've only felt in the quietest corners of your soul. Together, we'll step into the mysteries of God's plan, one revelation at a time. Are you ready? Before you ever opened your eyes to the world, God saw you. Not just your form, but your essence, your struggles, your victories, your purpose. The words of Jeremiah 1:5 echo across time. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. This isn't just a verse, it's a revelation. It's a reminder that your life, your journey, and even the people you meet are all part of a divine masterpiece. Now think about this. What if the connections you've cherished, the ones that leave a lasting imprint on your soul, weren't random? What if they were deliberate, preordained by God to guide you closer to His purpose for your life? The Bible gives us a striking example of such a connection in the story of Jonathan and David. The soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David. 1 Samuel 18:1. Can you imagine? Their bond wasn't born of convenience or circumstance. It was divinely orchestrated. Jonathan, the prince of Israel, saw God's hand on David a shepherd boy destined to become king. Instead of jealousy, he chose loyalty. Instead of rivalry, he chose covenant. This was more than friendship. It was a soul-deep connection crafted by God for a purpose far beyond themselves. Jonathan's unwavering faith in David's calling became a testament to the kind of bond that transforms lives and fulfills destinies. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever crossed paths with someone who changed the way you see the world, or even yourself? Someone whose presence felt like an answer to an unspoken prayer, arriving just when you needed them most. These encounters are sacred. They are God's way of revealing His intricate design, a reminder that you're never walking your path alone. Every person He places in your life serves a purpose, whether to challenge you, uplift you, or prepare you for something greater. Who has God woven into the fabric of your journey? And who are you being called to impact in return? These aren't just questions. They are invitations to reflect on the beauty of His plan and the profound ways He speaks to us through the people around us. If this resonates with your heart, I invite you to share your story in the comments below. Your words could become the light someone else is searching for. And if you've ever wondered why certain people leave such a mark on your soul, let this be your answer. They are part of a divine thread, a thread connecting you to God's greater plan. Keep listening, because the truths that follow could be the key to unlocking the mysteries you've always felt but never fully understood. Let's walk this journey together. Have you ever wondered if the people in your life were placed there for a reason far beyond what you can see? What if the bonds you share with certain individuals are not random, but sacred keys unlocking God's greater plan for you? These are the connections that shift destinies, awaken purpose, and draw you closer to the divine. Today, we'll uncover 5 powerful secrets about these divine connections. Truths that could forever change how you see the relationships in your life. Let's begin with the first secret. Secret 1. A shared spiritual calling. There are rare moments in life when someone enters your world and it feels as though they were sent, not by chance, but by the hand of God Himself. Their purpose aligns with yours so perfectly that you can't help but feel you are walking the same path, driven by the same divine purpose. These moments are sacred and they are never accidental. Consider the story of Moses and Aaron, one of the most profound examples of a shared spiritual calling. When God called Moses to deliver the Israelites from Egypt, Moses hesitated. He doubted himself, questioned his abilities, and felt unworthy of such a monumental task. But God, in His infinite wisdom, didn't send Moses alone. He sent Aaron, his brother, not just as a companion, but as a partner in destiny. Aaron was Moses' voice when he felt he couldn't speak. He was the strength that Moses needed when the weight of the mission became too heavy to bear. Together they confronted Pharaoh, parted the Red Sea, and led God's people to freedom. This was no ordinary partnership. It was a bond ordained by God, forged to fulfill His purpose on earth. Think about that for a moment. God didn't choose Moses and Aaron at random. He carefully aligned their lives, their gifts, and their weaknesses so they could complement each other in carrying out His divine plan. Their connection was more than blood. It was sacred, a perfect example of how God uses relationships to fulfill His will. Now let me ask you, have you ever felt this in your own life? Have you met someone whose presence seemed to ignite a deeper sense of purpose within you? Someone who mirrors your passions, strengthens your faith, and walks beside you in a way that feels nothing short of divine. These relationships are not ordinary. They are God's way of reminding us that we are not meant to walk this journey alone. When you find someone whose spirit aligns with yours, someone who shares your drive and vision, it's often a sign that God is aligning your paths for His greater purpose. The beauty of these connections is that they aren't always easy. Just as Moses and Aaron faced challenges and doubts, you too may experience struggles in these relationships. But it is through these trials that the bond becomes stronger and the purpose becomes clearer. These are the people who will push you to grow, hold you accountable, and remind you of the calling God has placed on your life. Reflect for a moment. Who in your life feels like a partner in destiny? Who challenges you to be better, to stay true to your faith, and to pursue the purpose that God has set before you? These are not mere coincidences. They are divine appointments, sacred alignments meant to guide you and strengthen you on your journey. How can you recognize such a connection? Look at the fruit it bears. Does this relationship bring you closer to God? Does it align with His word and His plan for your life? Does it inspire you to step boldly into your calling? If the answer is yes, then trust that this person has been placed in your life for a reason far greater than you might yet understand. God's plan is too big for us to carry alone. Just as He sent Aaron to Moses, He will send people into your life to walk beside you, to help you fulfill the mission He has designed for you. Be open to these connections, nurture them, and cherish them as the divine gifts they are. When God calls you, He will often send someone to remind you that you are never alone. Look for the ones who walk in step with your spirit, who fan the flames of your purpose, and who point you back to the one who brought you together. These are the connections that change lives, both yours and the world around you. Secret 2. Unexplainable recognition. There are moments in life when you meet someone, and without a word, you just know. It's as if your souls were waiting for this reunion, recognizing each other in a way that defies logic or explanation. These moments are rare, and they carry a sacred energy, an unshakable sense that this connection was divinely appointed. The story of Mary and Elizabeth in the Bible offers a glimpse into this profound mystery. When Mary, newly carrying the Savior of the world, visited her cousin Elizabeth, something extraordinary happened. As soon as Mary's voice reached Elizabeth's ears, the baby in her womb, John the Baptist, leaped for joy. In that moment, Elizabeth, filled with the Holy Spirit, declared, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the child you will bear." Luke 1:42. This wasn't just a family visit. It was a divine acknowledgement of their shared destiny. Mary and Elizabeth were connected in ways beyond blood. They were united by God's eternal plan. Their encounter was a sacred recognition, a spiritual alignment that affirmed the roles they would play in shaping the history of salvation. Have you ever felt this kind of connection? Perhaps you've met someone whose presence seemed to speak to your soul, whose energy felt like it was always meant to intertwine with yours. These moments aren't coincidences. They are divine whispers, signaling that God has placed this person in your life for a reason far beyond what you can see. Pay attention to the emotions and energy that arise in these encounters. Is there an unspoken peace, a sense of joy or clarity that defies the moment? These feelings are often the fingerprints of God, revealing a connection that is part of His plan for your life. When you experience this recognition, don't dismiss it as mere emotion. Pray for wisdom and discernment. Ask God to reveal the purpose behind this bond and to guide you in nurturing it. These sacred connections often carry a purpose that unfolds over time. They may lead you to growth, healing, or a deeper understanding of God's work in your life. Trust the process and let these divine encounters be a reminder that you are never walking your journey alone. Secret 3. The Refiner's Fire. Not all divine connections are warm and comforting. Some come into our lives like fire, not to harm us, but to refine us, to purify our hearts, and to deepen our relationship with God. These relationships are challenging and often painful, but they are no less sacred. The story of Job and his friends is a powerful example of this. Job, a man of unparalleled faith, was tested in ways that most of us cannot imagine. He lost his wealth, his children, and his health. In his suffering, 3 friends came to offer support: Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. But instead of comforting him, they questioned his character, accused him of hidden sin, and tried to make sense of his pain with flawed human reasoning. At first glance, it might seem like these friends did more harm than good, yet their presence in Job's life was no accident. Their questions forced Job to wrestle with his faith, to search his heart, and ultimately to encounter God in a way he never had before. Through the fire of their accusations, Job's understanding of God's sovereignty and love was refined and made stronger. Have you experienced relationships like this? Connections that seem to test every part of you. Your patience, your faith, even your identity. While they may feel overwhelming, these relationships often serve a divine purpose. They strip away your pride, challenge your assumptions, and draw you closer to the person God is shaping you to be. The refiner's fire is never easy, but it is always transformative. Think about the people who have challenged you, hurt you, or even frustrated you. Could it be that their role in your life wasn't to break you, but to build you? God doesn't place people in our lives without reason. Sometimes He uses the most difficult relationships to refine our character, deepen our faith, and prepare us for a greater calling. These connections force us to confront our weaknesses, to let go of what doesn't align with God's purpose, and to step into the strength He has placed within us. Don't dismiss these challenging relationships. Instead, ask yourself, what is God teaching me through this person? How is He using this experience to shape me into the person He has called me to be? The beauty of the refiner's fire is that it doesn't just purify, it prepares. It prepares you for the next chapter, the next challenge, and the next blessing. Trust the process, even when it feels painful. The people who test you the most may be the ones God uses to prepare you for something extraordinary. Let these moments remind you that even in the struggle, God is at work, shaping you for His glory and your greater purpose. Secret 4. Timing in God's plan. There is a divine rhythm to life, a sacred orchestration that we often can't see, but can feel in the moments when everything aligns perfectly. Divine connections are no exception. They don't happen by accident, nor do they occur out of sync. They arrive precisely when God knows we need them, not a moment sooner, and never a moment too late. Take the story of Esther and Mordecai, a testament to the perfection of God's timing. Esther, a young Jewish woman, was unexpectedly elevated to the position of queen in a foreign kingdom. To some, it may have seemed like chance. But when the Jewish people faced annihilation, it became clear that God had been working behind the scenes all along. Mordecai, Esther's cousin and mentor, reminded her of her greater purpose. Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Esther 4:14. His words awakened something within her, a courage that transformed hesitation into bold action. Esther stepped into her destiny, risking her life to save her people. Her position wasn't random. It was divinely timed, part of a plan that only God could conceive. Now pause and think about your own life. Has there been a moment when someone entered your world at just the right time? A mentor, a friend, or even a stranger whose presence shifted your perspective, guided your decisions, or gave you strength when you needed it most? These are not mere coincidences. They are sacred appointments, proof that God's hand is weaving together the fabric of your life. His timing may not always align with our expectations, but it is always perfect. It's easy to grow impatient, to wonder why certain connections haven't arrived yet, or why some relationships seem delayed. But trust this: when the time is right, when your heart is ready, when the circumstances align, and when your purpose requires it, God will send the people you need. Their arrival will feel like a divine exhale. A moment when you realize that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Be patient. Divine connections often surface at the precise moment they are meant to. Trust God's timing, even when it feels slow. The people He places in your life will come not to fill a void, but to push you forward in your purpose. Secret 5. Soul-level transformation. Some relationships touch the surface. Others reach the soul. These are the connections that don't just complement you. They change you. They challenge you, inspire you, and push you to become the person God created you to be. These relationships are not ordinary. They are sacred, and they hold the power to transform your very essence. Consider the bond between Paul and Timothy, one of the most profound mentorships in Scripture. Paul, a wise and seasoned apostle, saw potential in Timothy and chose to pour his life into him. He became a mentor, a spiritual father, and a guide, helping Timothy grow into the leader God had destined him to become. Paul's letters to Timothy are filled with encouragement and empowerment. Do not neglect your gift, Paul wrote, which was given you through prophecy. 1 Timothy 4:14. Paul's mentorship wasn't just about teaching, it was about transformation. Timothy grew into his divine purpose, while Paul found joy and fulfillment in witnessing that growth. Their connection wasn't one-sided. It was mutually enriching, a testament to how God uses relationships to refine and uplift both people. Now reflect on your journey. Have you encountered someone who inspired you to dig deeper, to aim higher, to see yourself through the lens of your God-given potential? Or perhaps you've been that person for someone else, a source of guidance, encouragement, and strength in their walk of faith. These soul-level connections are rare, but when they happen, they are undeniable. They remind us that we are never meant to journey alone. They pull us closer to God, shape our character, and propel us toward the destiny He has written for us. How do you recognize such a connection? Look for the fruit it bears. Does this relationship inspire growth, faith, and courage? does it challenge you to be better while simultaneously reminding you of your worth in God's eyes? When you encounter such a bond, cherish it. It is a divine gift meant to shape not just your present, but your eternal legacy. And now, we approach the heart of the mystery. What if the connections in your life, the ones that challenge, inspire, and transform, are part of something even greater? In the final moments of this journey, we will uncover a revelation from the Bible that could forever change how you view the relationships in your life. Let us step deeper into this sacred mystery together. If you've recognized one of these divine connections in your life, someone who inspires you, challenges you, or walks beside you in a way that feels like a gift from God, don't let it slip away. These relationships are sacred, designed with intention by the Creator. They are not only for your growth, but also to fulfill the purpose God has set before you. Take a moment to reflect on these connections. Who has God placed in your life that feels like more than a coincidence? Maybe it's a mentor who has guided you, a friend who has lifted you up, or even a relationship that tested you but ultimately made you stronger. Recognizing these bonds is just the beginning. Nurturing them is where the real spiritual growth happens. Start by seeking God's guidance. Pray for wisdom to understand the purpose behind these connections and the courage to nurture them with intention. Ask God to reveal how these relationships align with His greater plan for your life. Reflect on key moments in your journey through prayer or journaling, and allow God to speak to your heart about the people He has placed in your life. To go deeper, turn to His Word. Read Jeremiah 1:5, which reminds us that God's plan for our lives began even before we were born. Pair it with Psalms 139, a beautiful reflection of how intimately God knows us and the paths we will walk. These verses can bring clarity and peace as you discern the role of these divine connections in your spiritual journey. And don't keep this revelation to yourself. Share this video with someone you believe is part of your journey, someone who has inspired, challenged, or walked with you in faith. Let them know the role they've played in your life and invite them to reflect on their own divine connections. Finally, I encourage you to join the conversation. Comment below and share a story about a relationship that has transformed your life. Your experience might inspire someone else who is searching for meaning and connection in their journey. Together, we can build a community of God's chosen ones, a place where faith, purpose, and divine relationships are celebrated and nurtured. God has woven your life with care, and the people He has placed in your path are a reflection of His love and His purpose for you. Don't let these connections fade. Embrace them, nurture them, and let them guide you closer to Him. Your journey is sacred, and so are the relationships that shape it. Thank you for taking this journey with me, for opening your heart to these sacred truths, and for reflecting on the connections that God has placed in your life. You are not alone in this. Every step you take, every bond you recognize, is part of a much greater story, a divine tapestry woven with precision and purpose. This community exists to support you, to walk with you, and to remind you that you are not walking this path by chance. Together, we are seekers of truth, bound by faith, and united in our desire to fulfill the calling God has placed on our lives. You are part of God's eternal plan. Let that sink in for a moment. Your life, Your journey and the people in it were all crafted with intention by the Creator of the universe. Never doubt that you are seen, valued, and guided by a love that knows no bounds. Even in the moments when life feels uncertain or when the purpose of a relationship seems unclear, trust that God is at work. Trust that every connection, every trial, and every moment of joy is shaping you into the person He created you to be. You have been chosen, not by accident, but by design. The connections you've made and the ones yet to come are all part of God's plan for your growth, your purpose, and ultimately, your eternity. Lean into this truth and let it give you strength, courage, and clarity as you continue your journey. Thank you for being part of this sacred moment. Your openness and faith inspire not only me, but everyone in this community. Together, we can continue to uncover the beauty of God's work in our lives and celebrate the divine connections that remind us of His presence every day. You are never alone, and you are always loved. As we come to the end of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the 5 profound secrets we've uncovered about divine connections. Each one is a glimpse into God's eternal plan for your life, woven together with purpose and intention. We've learned about shared spiritual callings, like Moses and Aaron, showing us that God places people in our lives to walk alongside us in fulfilling His mission. We've explored unexplainable recognition, as seen in Mary and Elizabeth, where bonds are divinely affirmed and filled with sacred energy. We've delved into the refiner's fire, as exemplified in Job's story, reminding us that even challenging relationships serve to strengthen and transform us. Through Esther and Mordecai, we've seen the importance of God's perfect timing and how connections arrive exactly when we need them. And finally, we've embraced the power of soul-level transformation, inspired by the bond between Paul and Timothy, showing us how relationships can shape us into the people God has called us to be. Every connection in your life serves a purpose, whether to refine you, guide you, or join you in fulfilling a shared calling. None of them are accidental. All are divinely placed by the Creator, who sees the bigger picture even when we cannot. The Bible gives us a powerful truth to hold on to in Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Divine connections are not only blessings, but also tools for growth. They refine us, prepare us, and push us toward the greater purpose God has designed for us. The people in your life are there to sharpen you, to help you become stronger, wiser, and closer to the person God created you to be. As you step forward, go with faith. Cherish the relationships God has placed in your life. Nurture them and trust that they are part of something far greater than you can imagine. You are not alone in this journey. You are chosen, guided, and loved by the Creator, who has a plan for you that is beautiful and eternal. Remember, you are part of a divine story, and the people in your life are sacred chapters in a book authored by God Himself. Step boldly into your purpose and let your connections guide you to the destiny He has written for you. Until next time, stay blessed and stay faithful.